way, and today we're gonna start this video with Euro USD. Usually I'm usually doing NQ or ES, mainly NQ is what I trade, but we're gonna start with Euro USD today because I did a review video and an overview video on the 9th of this month, and I have this outlined because at the time of the video, this is what I was looking at. So I only had this data and I didn't have this Monday, so up until here. So this is all that I seen. So I didn't see this candle, this formation yet, and all of this. So at the time of the video, this was the last closed candle, and it was before market open. I believe it's been 2 weeks now. Let's look. So yeah, that was last week. So that was last week's video. So it took an entire week for this to play out, and let's just talk about it. So to start the week, I had this fair value gap outlined in that video from the 9th on what the market would do next. And as you can see, we ended up trading lower for that week. So we ended up trading lower and we recovered on that Friday. And then Friday, we started seeing higher prices on Friday. But that Friday should have been like your clear indication that, okay, we are going to go higher. I had this daily outlined, this daily swing high outlined as a potential target. And sometimes with currency pairs, they move slower. That's why I don't trade them as often. Not to say you couldn't have capitalized on this downward movement here, but they move slower and it's not as much volatility. But I feel like with new traders, uh, currency pairs are the best option. Like especially to like start to get started and building up your experience. Currency pairs are really good, especially if you don't want to overly trade your account. So with that being said, we did end up trading lower and we swept these lows here from the previous week. Let's see if that was a previous week's low. That wasn't a previous week's low. So we just missed trading. Well, we technically, if you want, you have to be mindful of the volume imbalance when you're making your fair value gaps because that's permissible and that's enough for the market to start making this run. So why don't I have a weekly? So that's permissible for the market to start making this run. So we swept these lows and then we started making our run higher. And you see, we didn't really retest. Excuse me, we didn't really retest and we just started trading higher from there. So at that point, there's not much opportunity. There's one more opportunity to trade into this fair value gap, or two more opportunities. So the following week, so this Monday and Tuesday, that was your opportunity to get in on the long side, and that's how you would have been able to capitalize. Anything above this 4 hour fair value gap, you're looking for buys. And it just takes time. Sometimes a lot of plays take time, and you just have to be mindful and be very flexible. So now let's go into, and this DXY, start trading lower. All these levels I have outlined. This swing point was taken, but let's go to our main pairs that we trade. So market is closed right now. It's currently Thursday. So we had a lot of chop during this. I got cooked today. Honestly, like that's just me over trading and being mindful of not being mindful of all the tools at my disposal. So we had this large run, and usually you guys have been watching. I always mention I start trading at 7, earliest 6:30. I want to look for a play because that's the open of the 4 hour candle. So we had this 4 hour wick. So I measured this 4 hour wick, and I treat it like a fair value gap. And as you can see, we're trading on the bottom half of it, and we end up closing it below at the 2 a.m. 4-hour candle. So that 4-hour candle gave us the closure below, and we retested it one more time. And this is also a daily fair value gap, a suspension block actually. So we have a volume imbalance at the high, and we have a volume imbalance at the low. And I included both of that. I had this alert here because I wanted to see us sweep that, and that would have been a strong indication for me to for sell loss. But like I mentioned with EU, you have to include the volume imbalance because that's permissible. That's enough for it to trade into that and then reverse. And you can see this 4-hour wick that I measured because this was the last high. If we were to be trading above it, then I would target higher prices, but we didn't get that. And I missed this run going lower. And then we took out this daily low here, this daily swing point here, and we swept that. I could have, there was a potential opportunity to go long, but we had such a big run, we ended up consolidating for basically the entire AM session. Then we got this final push in the afternoon, but I got chopped up in this area, and that's just me, honestly. I can't even complain or be upset. I missed my run, and then I try to go for another setup. I was trying to go long back into the not the new day, yes, the new day open. Excuse me. So trying to trade back into the new day open, and we weren't getting that. So like I mentioned, using all the tools at my disposal. This run started. This was our range that started, and as you can see, we reached up into 62, and we never really got any real commitment from there. Every time we'll trade above, we'll come right back down. And that was a strong indication that, okay, this was potentially, because we barely swept this. We swept this by like 2 ticks or a tick. And that was real smooth. And I wanted to see us the midpoint of this daily fair value gap get hit. And like I said, we did eventually get that in the afternoon. But this just a lesson on being patient and really just letting the market come to you instead of forcing the issue. If I really wanted something decent, something simple, trading back to this 50%, that would have been an easy target, low hanging fruit objective, and nothing crazy. I had the idea of taking this. We left this fair value gap here on the 5 minute, and we end up using it later on again. So now we left this fair value gap on a 5 minute on the way up. You see we have these three down close. We have this breaker when we close above and we form a fair value gap. This probably would have been the best entry for longs. And like I said, we're just trading back to 50%. So nothing crazy. I mean, 100 points. And I love targeting for 100 points. 100 points is, especially in these markets on NQ, that's very achievable. You just have to know what you're looking for. Like I said, I'm getting chopped up in this area. This was the first presented fair value gap on the 1 minute time frame, and like I said, not using all the tools at my disposal, not measuring. I want to see the market trade back into like this area here, and we're not really getting that, and I'm just forcing the issue. So just being mindful and always let the market come to you. Allow the market to tip its hand to you, and the market wasn't really tipping long positions above these premium levels. When we got here, we start every time we'll flush back down, and all of this consolidation. I'm trying, and I when I was trying to short, I'm trying to short at the 9:30 open, and that's not a bad short position, but your stop is gonna be over 100 points. Like that's a big stop, and to be able to hold, it's like a 1-to-1, I believe. Barely, it's like your stop. It's yeah, barely a 1-to-1. So just being mindful of that, being mindful of these things, and paying attention to the macros. Like this entry was a 950, so 950 to 1010. That probably would have gotten you your 100 points. And it's a small range, but it gets the job done. And sometimes I need to not let my ego get in the way. But I'm making these videos all for learning experiences for myself and for others who see this, and just to be mindful of these things and being able to use all the tools at your disposal, understand where you are currently and what is the market trying to do, and knowing if we're going to consolidate. You know, we had this run all before New York session started. So London session was trending, pre-market was trending. So, what's likelihood we're just gonna keep gyrating back and forth, and then we didn't have a red folder news today, a red folder news driver. Let's check on that real quick. So today Thursday, so orange. So nothing crazy today that will garner us to crazy back and forth price action, but it's all good though. And that's all for this video. Market gonna open again soon. It's gonna be Friday. We could see a TGIF setup appear, but we'll see. But that's all for this video. And until next time, love.